Hello, my lovelies. So welcome to this week's teaching tip of the week. And today I am looking at Tadasana and asking you the question, why is Tadasana so hard to teach? And perhaps more specifically, why do we have all these verbal cues to lead our students into the shape of standing? Now, I am going to do a little montage of verbal cues that I know that some of them I use, some of them I've read and heard before. I'm not saying these are all the right cues to use. I'm not saying I agree with all of these cues, but just off the top of my head, these are the Tadasana cues that I have encountered at some point in my yoga teaching career. So, feet hips distance apart, feet together, big toe, ankle joint touching. Spread through the toes, lift the toes, ground the baby toe, spread and ground through all of your toes. Root from the mound of the big toe, the baby toe, inner heel, outer heel. Lift the inner arches of your feet. Hug the muscles of the legs to the bone. Feel the shins draw in and the thighs roll out. Feel a sporadic action in your legs as the energy of the shins roll in and the energy of the thighs roll out. Draw up through your kneecaps. Lift your kneecaps. Engage your quadriceps. Coming a little bit higher up the body. Tuck your tailbone. Drop your tailbone. Drop your sit bones down. Draw the navel in. Lift the belly to the spine. Engage Uddiyana Bandha. Drop your floating ribs down. Soften through your floating ribs. Lift the heart, then to lift the sternum. Relax the shoulders away from the ears. Draw the shoulder blades down the back of the body. Drop the shoulder blades to the pelvis. Lift up through the crown of the head. Root down to rise up. Well, if you were trying to do all of those, and we've all been there, I've been there, trying to get my students to find their perfect Tadasana and spouting off most of those cues. And the net result is your students are going to feel overwhelmed. Now, it's not that those alignment cues are wrong. I don't agree with all of them, but alignment isn't bad. Alignment is a guide. So we're using alignment to guide our students into the best possible spacious shape for their body. Because alignment is unique, which is why it is so hard to teach, which might explain why we have all of these verbal cues for just standing in a pose called Tadasana. If you are, and I've been there, I've had my students there and I'm working through the feet, I'm working through the legs, get alignment in the pelvis, firing up Uddiyana Bandha, relaxing the shoulders. Before I know it, they're completely overwhelmed and they're not listening to me, and they've had a sympathetic nervous system response and they're doing their best. Forgot the arms. Drop the arms down the side of the body, spread through the hands. They're doing their best to stand in their best possible posture. And that might even cause them problems because they might believe their posture is bad, or they might have habits in their posture that, because you've made them stress, because you've overwhelmed them with so many verbal cues, they've fallen into. So first bit of advice is 3. 3 is the magic number. So regardless of the yoga pose, when we want to focus on alignment and guiding our students safely to the pose, try to focus on a maximum of 3 verbal cues. It doesn't mean that every time we revisit this shape, we visit this pose, that we can't explore somewhere different. Perhaps we explore on the feet for a bit and then we feel muscular energy into the legs. Perhaps we then explore the position of the pelvis. That's fine, but we're not doing all of that all at once. But I would like us to explore, could we drop most of those cues and lead our students to a place where That all happens, that all falls into place without us having to do so much verbal instruction. So let's have a go. Coming to stand. Now, instead of just spreading those toes, reaching for the inner edges of the feet, yada, 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 I want you to spread through the sole of the foot. Okay, think more global in your verbal instruction. So we're spreading through the sole of the foot. Have a little softness, a little buoyancy into the knees. People can get a bit stuck locking out into knee joints in Tadasana. We soften up, we find space in the knees. We need to imagine you're about to jump, but instead of jumping, just that moment before you jump, we root down to rise up. Feeling energy traveling up the front of the body and down the back. Let's try that again. So softening the knees, spreading through the sole of the foot. It's almost like you're about to jump. That moment before you jump, catch it, root down to rise up. Feel energy rising up the front of your body and dropping down your back. And you know, those of you that know all of those cues, know what should be happening in the legs, know what should be happening in the pelvis and the abdomen, know what should be happening in the shoulder blades and the rib cage, shoulders, head. Can you feel it all just falls into place like a dominoes effect? That's one suggestion. And the reason that I'm not putting that forward as the only suggestion, because it's really important that we try lots of different ways and explore different ways of doing things. It's good for our nervous system, and there isn't a one size fits all. Our cue, bringing out my favorite part, the softball, the Pilates softball. For me, this is one of the most effective ways that I can help particularly my pregnancy and postnatal women find this nice balanced shape in Tadasana without needing to think too much, which is good when you're growing a baby or distracted by a baby. So ball comes between the thighs. It could be a yoga brick if you don't have a ball. And it's just so simple. I spread through the sole of my feet. I squeeze the ball, I hug him. And I also feel an energy drawing out. And that also helps to find enough energy into the feet, enough energy into the legs, find this lovely balanced shape in Tadasana without me needing to think about drawing the spine, dropping the tailbone, lifting up through the quadriceps, making my kneecap smile, relaxing my shoulders. I could go on, just drawing in, drawing out, and finding that space in Tadasana. Here's where the magic's at, which is the center of you.